Dan John is an icon when it comes to kettlebells. He put the kettlebell on the map like those old school guys like Steve Cotter, Steve Maxwell, and Pavel Tsatsouline. So Dan John is in that iconic, legendary field. So what I want to do is I want to react to one of his most popular videos. That's the Humane Burpee. That's one of the workouts that he put together. And I'm going to react to one of his clips that he did on swing weights, which I find very interesting, and I'm going to comment on it. Let's get to it. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe here. Let me put this one right home. Dan John is an icon like Pavel, like Steve Cotter or Steve Maxwell. Guys who put the kettlebell on the map in the Western world. Of course, we have the Russian legends like Sergei Mishkin or Sergei Rudnev or Denis Vasilev. You know, all these old school dudes who are responsible for pushing the kettlebell and making it known. But the sport guys, you have to see one thing. The sport guys are mostly concerned with the competition aspect of it, while guys like Dan and Pavel and Steve made the kettlebell more popular in the fitness world. And that's one of the reasons why I have discovered the kettlebell. And I highly appreciate the fact that these guys are still around and still sharing their knowledge, because we can learn from guys like this. And I think we should always remember and always realize that we, the youngins who are now coming in, the Padawans, you know, the Jedis have come before us, so we are here to pay respects, to pay dues, and to honor these guys. So let's jump into the reaction and see what Dan John can teach us.
Hello everybody, Dan John from DanJohnUniversity.com here. Had some questions about this workout called the Humane Burpee. And a shout out to Dan Martin for coming up with that name.
Humane Burpee, I like that name.
It's very simple. The one we're using today: 15 swings, 5 goblet squats, 5 push-ups, 15 4-4, 15 3-3.
A ladder workout.
15 2-2, 15 1-1. I just finished my warm-up with my good friend Mike over here. We did some TRX work for about 15 minutes. We did original strength. My heart rate's about 101 right now. I have my very fancy heart rate monitor in here.
There was even a question on his YouTube channel. Guys were like, hey, where did you get that heart rate monitor from?
So we get a sense of how much work I'm doing. It's only to be 75 swings, 15 goblet squats, and 15 push-ups, but that's a fair amount of work. To make it harder, you go 10 goblet squats, 10 push-ups, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8. You'll figure it out.
So these ladder workouts, they're pretty intense. We did one with swings and push-ups, so it was like 10 swings, 10 push-ups, then 9 swings, 9 push-ups, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4. Etc. And these are really intense. So for example, if you do the workout that we did, 10 swings, 10 push-ups down to 1, that'll take you about 5 to 6 minutes of work, which is a fair amount of work, a fair amount of volume. And I like what he says about the simple aspect of training that I have always followed, but I even took it a bit further after I've read the book Simple and Sinister from Pavel, because the idea is just to keep it simple. And we have even somebody on our YouTube channel who commented, always follow the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. I liked it.
I'm 63 and I'm just doing my best here, okay?
I don't think you have to apologize for your age, Dan. So many folks said that on this video as well. And 63, still looking good, still looking strong, still working out. I mean, that's an achievement all by itself. And he had one very good quote. He said, I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit, the formula of success is showing up and then staying at it or being consistent. And most people have problem with the consistency part. And I like that quote because I've heard it from multiple coaches now, and then we see it in experience. Most people are having trouble with staying consistent. So it's not about talent, not about the grind, not about the best workout to follow. It's just something that you discover, that you like, that keeps you moving, that you enjoy, and that you can do consistently. Let's put it down. So that's 1, 2, and he's rocking with a 24. He said that in his comments. Easy one. And this is something that we always get sometimes, is swing height, you know. And I think that's preference, so he keeps it above hip level on abdominal, at the abdominal area. What I like to do is to get the swing up high to the chest level so that the backswing is a little bit stronger. But keep in mind, I'm doing the sports style method where I start to compensate and counterbalance the weight so that the backswing is way harder, and then I can relax a little more at the top position. It's preference. So because it's a hinge movement. Boom. Now with that goblet squat, if you keep it like this, you feel a lot of tension in the biceps as well. We like to keep it on the bell itself where the handle points down, but that's totally fine. You get some biceps work. And the push up. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Dan, come on. That's it. Good stuff.
Heart rate 129.
129. And he keeps going like this. I think he does it, with 5 down to 1, and he's always in between 139 or 140 something, which is a great idea. I think it's also a great idea to keep pacing where you can say, okay, I'm trying to go as fast as possible with great form and see how fast I can finish the workout. More of a CrossFit mentality, if you put it like that. And what you have to see is why I think this is such a great workout is because it builds upon the most important foundations and fundamentals when it comes to building a workout or training, being educated in how to put together a workout and structuring a program. Because what you have with the swing is you have the hinge motion, so you have the posterior chain. Then what you have with the goblet squat is more the anterior chain, so the quads are working a little bit more, and then you have to keep your chest upright, which activates your back. And then the push-up is the anterior part of your upper body where you work the chest and the arms. This is good stuff. This is a great full body workout. I really like the idea. Great stuff, Dan. So now let's switch into this podcast clip that he had where he was talking about swing weights.
I am curious about your thoughts on how heavy to go on swings. Zachary, I'm a pretty good swinger with kettlebell.
With kettlebells.
For me, I can get up to the 48, and I can do good sets with about 10 or 15. I've done the 60 kilo kettlebell for swings. Wow. Here's the problem is, once you go past the 24, you're in a very interesting cost to benefit matrix.
Just to stop it right here. I like it that Dan sees it the same way like Dennis does. You got to check out the interview that I did with Dennis Vasiliev, 11-time kettlebell world champion. He says once you go past the 24, you go into professional territory. So Dan says the same, like, hey man, if you cross the 24, it's an interesting territory where you find yourself in. And Dennis will put it like, it's professional territory. So mind yourself that your technique has to be good. That's what he talks about now.
So all you need with the 60 kilo kettlebell is one bad swing, and all of a sudden the physics kick in, and your poor spine, or maybe that one disc by itself is like, I don't know what you want, but we can't do it.
You're gone. Yeah.
So if your swing technique is really good, you can probably swing heavier. But what happens is, and I see people look like it looks like a wobbling deadlift. It's not an actual boom, boom, boom swing.
And you know why? Because I've actually done a swing with the 48. I think I did like 10. What happens is once you start swinging with heavier weight, and this is something that you feel in the swing, in the clean, and the snatch. In the snatch, even it's hardcore because the amortization, the drop phase is way higher, so there's way more of a backswing and way more of gravity that kicks in. And this is where the point lies. When you're swinging with heavy weights, gravity, the pull of gravity becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. So you will be having a very hard time keeping that pendulum and working in that hinge motion without bending your knees too much. Even though the hardstyle guys, they do bend their knees a little bit more. But you'll have a very hard time to stay in the hinge because the pull of gravity is so hard that once the kettlebell reaches its apex down, right where it's almost touches the ground when you're swinging, right? Because the pull is so hard that it'll pull you down so intensively, and you'll have to battle it You don't have to battle this. That's why he says, I get this picture. It's like a wobbling deadlift because you're not able to get into the pendulum because the pull of gravity is so strong. Even with good swing technique, like he says, one bad swing, that's what happens.
I would say for most men, Zachary, that once you get past the 32, you'd better really have your technique locked down, okay? For women, honestly, I work with some women who are extraordinarily good at this movement. Great hinge, great plank, great hinge, great plank. And I watched them hit that 24. And
see, that's interesting. He says great hinge, great plank. So I think the idea of the plank is, and I'm talking to one of a very, very good hardstyle coaches who's called Luca Kurcher. I'm really looking forward to his interview. You got to watch out for that interview coming soon on the channel. I think the plank is the idea when they go down into the backswing, where the kettlebell points back, is where they start planking very hard, right? This is something that you don't do when you do with the kettlebell sports style. This is interesting stuff.
It just becomes physics. They're throwing it far, and you can see their feet grabbing the ground really hard. I had one woman tell me one time how she always knew she had a good swing workout because in the middle of the night her feet would cramp up because they're grabbing the ground to counter those bells. So for me,
and that's something as well. That's why we counterbalance. With the sports style method, I counterbalance the weight. All right. That's why once I'm at the top of the swing, I'm leaning back so I can counterbalance the weight and compensate. Because compensating like this is something that comes even into question even more once you clean it or snatch it. Because compensating means that you're working like a scale where you fend off gravity, and where the moment, the apex, where the kettlebell has almost no weight, is easier to handle, so that way you can work for a long time. So that's interesting what he says, that if your feet are grabbing the floor because you're blasting the kettlebell way out in front, so you have to really dig your heels into the ground and keep those toes locked firm on the ground, because otherwise you will fly off, right? So that's the reason why we compensate. So interesting stuff.
Let's just say this. Let's make up a formula. Let's say 24 for females, 32 for men. Occasionally you can go heavier, but boy, take a moment to ensure that your technique is spot on and there's value in going heavier that day.
So what I really like and what I'm really taking with me is looking for the value. If there is a value in going heavy, is there a real value on that day? And if yes, do it. But the question is, Dennis answered this question to me. He said, listen, you are double as safe, twice as safe if you have the weight you're working with. Okay, if I'm snatching with the 32, I can do like 5 reps in a minute because it's so heavy. If I'm snatching with a 16, I can do 25 in a minute. So the workload, the volume is way higher with the 16. So that equates more work done, plus I'm twice as safe. All right. So there is the question that I'm even asking myself, is there a value to swing that high? Because if you want to swing or that high with that much weight, if you swing with a 60, 80 kilo, for example, why not do a very heavy deadlift then? Because that's more like the same motion. Why not do then a safer version where you can really put way heavier weights on it instead of working with a ballistic element that is hard to control once you really get up in those numbers? Guys, I have to let you know, I hope I can interview him one day. I tried to connect with him, but I'm doing my best to keep connecting with him because I really want to have him on and have him share his story and his knowledge and his passion, because we can learn from these guys. We can learn from these guys. On a final note, guys, I just read through this text. Let's read it together. Make a difference. Live, love, laugh. Balance work, rest, play, and pray. Enjoy beauty and solitude. Sleep soundly, drink water, eat veggies and protein, walk. Wear your seatbelt, don't smoke, floss your teeth. Put weights overhead, pick weights off the floor, carry weights, reread great books, say thank you. The best life advice that you can get. Good stuff, Dan. Wow. Taking this with me. taking this with me. And just on a final note as well on walking, in that Humane Burpee workout, he was talking about walking, brisk walking with some weights on, which I really like. I like the idea of walking. Brisk walks is a game changer when it comes to calorie burn and losing weight, just on a final note. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, consider subscribing if this is your first time on our channel. And if you are a beginner and you want to combine some easy kettlebell training, which gradually increases in difficulty, with some easy to follow nutrition coaching, then check out 90 Days of Kettlebells. You'll find the link in the description, 14-day free trial included.